The CEO says that UNet provides cloud native for workflow solution that streamlines operations for project-based businesses, delivering real-time insights
Or
for Fortune 500 companies
why?
because it addresses critical pain points in compliance and delivers a real-time data visibility to increase productivity.
Okay, let's go back up to the what. What do we make of that?
Well, a lot of words.
Yes, a lot of words.
A lot of words. They do something technical for project-based businesses, but
When you
that's
say
not the why.
when you say project-based businesses, that sounds a little bit more possibly like a
Yeah.
who than a what.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
they provide a solution, and then the why is the delivering the insight. So they put
well,
it
you
all
might
into the first.
right, you might think that the real-time insights might be part of the why. It doesn't have to be, but if you were trying to be strict about it and you're trying to sort it out and have everybody rigorously aligned around a single version of the what, who, why, you might want to make that clearer. So,
Right. But I'm not clear on what they do. It's kind
right.
of just,
So it needs
they
a little
need
bit
much
of
more specific words.
work. And then let's look
Yeah.
at the who, the Fortune 500 companies. Now, here I mentioned that we have AI guided support here. I want to show you what we mean by that. So if you go, and you can actually do this, or you'll be doing this later, so you can start getting yourself set up if you want. But if you go to IntelliVen.com, it's up here in the title, and then go to the sandbox, which is right here you can use a PC, tablet, or a phone, get it to IntelliVen.com sandbox. You'll get to this screen here where you can log in. And what we'll do here is log in with UNet as our example. And we'll actually do that now. So I will go to IntelliVen sandbox, log in with UNet. So this is the IntelliVen Operations Advisor sandbox. And you'll see here 3 tools on the left, the mandate, the www, and the change framework. And each of those tools has a set of functions underneath it. You know, a tutorial, an infer function, so we can infer a www and a mandate, assess and suggest where we would enter one and get feedback on it, and a consolidate, which would take many entries and show the similarities and differences between entries, and then suggest a consolidated version. We'll look at the what, who, why here and do the assess. So let's put in here Fortune 500 companies. We could put the whole what, who, why in here, but let's just put that one and see what it has to say. So basically what's happened is we've loaded up this GPT, the IntelliVen Operations Advisor, with all the logic from minutes to lead text, from the course, from prompts that are related to all of this, give the kind of feedback we would give if you asked us to comment on a given what, who, why. So here's our entry, Fortune 500 companies, and here's what IVOA has to say to us. The Fortune 500 companies lack specificity regarding the individual buyer. It should clarify a specific role within these companies, such as a CEO or CFO, or another decision maker. Additionally, it would be beneficial to include details about their prior experience, organization size, and location to enhance clarity. So that's pretty constructive feedback for somebody that's trying to nail an ICP who. And then it gives a suggested upgrade. So it says, the chief operating officer of a Fortune 500 company with a history of using traditional project management tools, but seeking more efficient, scalable solutions. The organization typically has over 10,000 employees and is located in North America. Now, it's not actually saying those are the exact numbers that you should have in your ICP or in your who, but it's saying you need numbers there. You need to be more clear. And I can honestly tell you that none of us actually put this prompt, the answer to this prompt in there. That's totally figured out by our IVOA GPT. Then what we can do is come back to here. Okay, so we've done this now. So here's the original entry. So we take the Fortune 500 companies and replace it with what, for example, in this case, a slightly modified version of what the IVOA told us to do. And then we'll do the same thing for the what and the why. You can see a much richer what, who, why for the CEO. Now let's look at the entry originally entered by the COO. Well, you see the COO for the who said diverse businesses, and the CEO is saying much more clearly a certain population of target companies. So one question is, how big a difference and how big a deal does that make? Well, if you let these differences sit, you have really four choices. You can just assume everybody's on the same page. You can ignore differences that pop up from time to time. Or if you're a power figure, you can mandate that everybody think about it one way or another. Or you can work together to collaborate to resolve any inconsistencies and make everybody think about it the same exact way. If you don't do anything in those first three answers, then it's quite likely that one day someone's going to walk in and announce you did a sale to a company you didn't even want to sell to. And you would have been upset that you were wasted your resources selling to the wrong kind of customer. What's the difference there? Well, that's really the beginning of getting off track. It's going to lead to silos and inconsistent messaging inside the company and in the market. It really devolves over time with scale. What you really want is everybody working in the same exact direction, such that we see how many arrows do we see moving up and to the right in the illustration in the lower right of this slide. Everybody sees 3. And what we really want is the 4th arrow, where everybody's working together in the same exact direction to get what we call our super arrow, because we've now aligned on what it is we're all trying to do. It's exactly the same. So now let's say we have 4 top team members, and each has entered their what, who, why, and iterated with IVOA and tailored it to be exactly what they think it should be in terms of specificity and clarity. And now what we want to do is use IVOA, as I mentioned, we can do a consolidate. So it takes the 4 entries in this case and points out similarities and differences between them, and then suggests a way to consolidate them, not to give the team the answer, but to give them something to talk about and to work on, to tweak, to get to the point where they say, yes, we've nailed it. And what happens invariably is you get a richer final agreed upon uniform version of the what, who, why by having worked together. And it's such that no one of the team members, even the leader, could have come up with on their own. The question still remains, is it any good? So then what you want to do is iterate with your market. So we have an assess and suggest loop here where we have each individual enter and submit, check for clarity, specificity, refine and iterate, then do the consolidate, note similarities, differences, suggest and upgraded, and then loop with the team on that. And we do all of that in the IVOA sandbox. And then you want to run it by your market, right? You want to test it in the market, and you want to check for alignment with maybe your board and your investors and your partners, and then run it against the world, including some customers, some employees, and your marketing material. So what you can do now is use the infer function of IVOA to go to the website, read the website, and infer what is the www that's being communicated by your website. And then you can do a compare with the consolidated version from the team and see if the team's version of what the company's what, who, why are match what they're communicating to the world. Same thing with the management presentation or brochure. You can also have load those into IVOA and have IVOA infer from those and then do a comparison.